What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, we have a repeat guest, an agent who sold over $22 million in his first year, now is building a team that sold over $50 million last year. Welcome back to the show, Jonathan Chvala. What's up? Welcome to the show, Jonathan. How are you doing today?
Good.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me.
Great to have you on. This is, I think, the second time we've done an interview here, and maybe you did one before with Carrie, so repeat guest on the HyperFast show. And just to give people background, if they didn't listen to those prior episodes, which they should, you had a tremendously fast start in real estate. How many deals, volume did you do your first year?
22 million, 35 deals first year.
22 million. 35 deals your first year, almost beat me, but not quite.
Not quite.
But and that's without adjusting for inflation, by the way.
Yeah,
oh.
That's right.
So just like to point that out. But give us an update of what's happened since then, and you know, you've branched out and started your own team and about to make a big move. So walk us through all the good details here.
Yeah, no. Year 3, we've started our own team. It's called Duo. Jonathan Chvala team. We are, as of next month, going to be a team of 11. So 7 agents, 3 ISAs, 1 admin, and myself. And then, making a big move here, currently with Keller Williams, and going to be changing brokerages here soon.
All right. Well, what's next for you? What's the change and why?
eXp. Moving to eXp. It's going to be...
Coming to the dark side.
Coming to the dark side. A lot of pros and cons that we were weighing in terms of where we're at currently with Keller Williams. You know, is it worth it? That was kind of the big question, right? Is it worth it for our team? I think there's a lot of pros with Keller Williams, except when it comes to our team, what are the cons? And the cons just outweigh the pros, right? So in terms of how much we pay them, and is it the right fit for just our team? Our team is a very independent, very virtual. We love to meet together off-site. We meet all the time in terms of weekly and bi-weekly, but Keller Williams and its community and resources just was it for us, mostly.
All right, so you're saving money on the yearly cap, broker fees, splits, and I guess enough there that it's worth the move, right? Because if you're going to, you know, there's a lot of people out there that aren't going to move for, you know, a little bit of savings on that, right?
Yeah, no, it's like I'm not just completely changing our entire lifestyle in brokerage just because now each of my agents are saving, what, $9,000 each? That's not the majority of the reason there. The other big reason is because we do, in terms of long-term plan, we want to obviously grow the team, grow in terms of locations, cities, and resources there. So that's a big one. In terms of also just the back-end systems, eXp is going to be a little bit easier for us. And then, of course, the mentorship and the resources we get in terms of with partnering with you guys.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they think of eXp, you know, there's obviously what they're going to save on the splits. There's the advantages of being in a cloud. Mm-hmm. But expansion teams is something that is a huge advantage that you don't hear a ton about, you know, with eXp. Like in the Keller Williams model, if you want to run an expansion team, well, you know, you go to a different market center, they've got a whole different set of franchise agreements, a whole different set of ownerships, whole different cost structure, and you just have to plug in and like eat that cost. So every time you go to a new market center, there's going to be new agreements there, new ownership to work with, and a new fee structure, whereas at eXp, it's just one big national company. You can operate in 50 different states, 24 countries under like one agreement and one fee structure.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think at the end of the day, it's, again, is it all about the money? Mostly, not entirely. It's also, though, it's making my life easier and efficient, right? Anything that's going to save me time, I'm on board. So,
and nothing against KW. I think they were the last major disruptor, and they are probably the best of the what I would call the old model. You know, the old model that came about in 1906. Been hanging on this model for over 100 years now, and you know, and this is the structure where you've got the owner, then you know, later on it franchised out, right? So you've got regions, and then
Yeah.
the regions sell franchises, and then the franchises hire staff and get
Yeah.
brick and mortar, and
Old-fashioned.
And KW did a good job in the old fashioned model. This allows easier expansion. It allows easier, quicker, faster growth, and it also gives two things that you don't see at other brokerages, right? You actually get ownership,
Yeah.
right? You get equity, you get stock awards, and you get revenue sharing.
Yeah.
I think that aspect is not understood by most real estate agents. And most of them, by the way, are in a revenue share deal. They're just on the wrong side of it,
Yeah.
right? They're sharing their revenue.
Right.
And, I was watching the Nike Air movie recently where, it told the story of how Nike got Michael Jordan. And people don't realize this, but back then Nike was, this is like 1983 or 1984. Nike was a nobody when it came to the basketball world. They were just
Sure.
like a track shoe.
Yeah.
And all the top players were with Converse. I think Magic, Larry. Adidas was kind of the maybe hipper, cooler one, and Nike was like a no one. Jordan didn't want to do it, but his mom was able to negotiate a revenue share deal. So she was kind of like the eXp agent, right? So you're gonna have access to those two things too now, right? Ownership and revenue sharing, which you don't get anywhere else,
Right.
How much did those two factors kind of weigh on your decision, if at all?
Pretty heavily.
Yeah.
Because actually, the real reason why this brokerage move came up, right, is because we were actually in talks with two other brokerages. Kind of all just kind of fell into place, really, kind of coincidentally on the same month or two. So probably word got out that I was meeting with people. That's really what happened. And we actually had other offers from other brokerages. One specifically, we won't say any names, but that was more cash up front, right? Would have made my life easy in terms of marketing and back end, sure. But much higher split, again, not as much of a long-term plan, right? I'm trying to find a home to grow the team and grow and expand and move on, right? And just create that automated system in the back end. So I could have easily taken that cash paycheck up front with that brokerage and it would have been a pretty penny. But
Yeah, it's funny, and I have a good sense of who you're talking about. I assume it's an old model brokerage that's up and coming and kind of disguised as a tech broker. Like they like to call themselves a tech broker, even though they have a lot of bricks and mortars.
yeah.
They've been down in agent count this year. They've lost 600-700 agents year to date, or at least through Q1, and record-setting losses, all that. It's interesting on the cash bonus part because like a year ago they told their shareholders they weren't
doing
that.
Yeah.
And I've heard of this in multiple places, multiple cities. I've heard of cash bonuses still, which I don't know how you tell your shareholders one thing and do this. And typically there you're at an 85-15 or 90-10. I did hear of someone getting a 95-5 actually.
Yeah.
Out in I think somewhere in the Midwest. But the thing about taking the 15% split, right? Again, that's revenue share, just the wrong side of the deal.
Side.
That ends up being like 45 to 50% of your profits, right? So like whatever you're giving up to a uncapped broker in gross commissions, multiply that percentage by 2 to 3, maybe even 3.5, and that's how much of your net profit you're giving up.
Yeah.
It's wild, and so definitely over time this is save you a ton of money, give you ownership, give you the right side of the revenue share deal. What are your goals in if you think like 5 years from now, after moving the team to eXp? I've heard you say you want to be in multiple cities. Which cities do you want to be in, and like what's your overall goals for the group?
Unsure in terms of like what the next big market we would want to break into. I'm actually from Richmond, Virginia, so definitely that's an easy one for me, just being 2 hours from here. That's like a little easy mini office we can start there and break into, but definitely want to start breaking into the other big markets in that sense. In terms of a 5-year plan, it's my goals change a lot.
Right.
If you told me 3 years ago I'd be in this position, I would laugh in your face. So if you told me a year ago I was even starting my own team, I didn't believe you. So it's on the bright side, the pro is we're still exponentially growing. We're a team of 11 now. I hope to be maybe a team of 20, 30 by next year, and then probably in a 3-year plan, be in at least in 2 other cities, have at least 50, 80 agents total. That'd be like an extreme plan, but those, set high goals.
Now you're also bringing on agents over to eXp that will either be solo agents, run their own team, right?
Yeah, it's been great. Even in the past year, I've been able to at least create really great relationships in my current brokerage and outside my brokerage just here in the market. And so me making a move like this also kind of created conversations with a few other teams. So we'll be making our announcement here in the next week or so, and then there'll actually be quite a few other teams making the move with us as well.
Well, that will definitely be exciting to see. What would your message be to agents all across the country listening to this, or even in other countries? If they're kind of thinking, well, if a guy selling $22 million his first year is making this move, maybe I should look at it, right? Like, what would you tell people? Maybe considering move. What should they look at?
I mean, other than just look at it long term. That's the big thing, right? I was skeptical about eXp at first. I'm not gonna lie, I was, right? And I think the big thing was eXp as a brand and as a brokerage. I can brand myself as an eXp agent, but I can also brand myself as my company's agent. I'm going to focus on my branding, my marketing. eXp is just giving me the tools and resources to grow exponentially a lot faster. And I think it's more just modern day in terms of the way we look at business models and being virtual and cloud-based, right? And being able to expand a lot quicker than a lot of these brick and mortar building plans like Keller Williams. There's nothing skeptical about eXp. I would just start the conversation, look into it, instead of just hating on it from afar.
Yeah, some of the biggest teams are there, and certainly, you see teams there now that are at almost $1 billion in annual sales.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say that it's not for top producing agents, right?
It's working.
Right.
Yeah. It's working. So I would look into it for sure.
And then you see like huge luxury sales there now. Even like there's people selling $5-10 million homes at eXp. They sold someone at eXp sold a $40 million condo a couple months ago.
You go on the West Coast, they're for $20-30 million listings on average, pretty much for some of those teams.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some huge price point sales, big teams there. If someone's listening, wants to learn more about it, how should they contact you?
Duo DMV, or DC, Maryland, Virginia. That's our team here locally.
So it's Instagram, or how do they message you?
Facebook, yeah. Our website, you can actually shoot me a message through the website. All my contact info is there as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for being on the show again, Jonathan. Pleasure to have you on and to share your story. And to all of our listeners and viewers out there, thank you for tuning in. Please share this episode with other agents that you think would benefit from it, and leave us a review. We love the reviews. We'll see you next time.